Welcome everyone to our UC Berkeley Engineering virtual visit. We're very excited that you decided to spend an hour with us, especially with everything happening out in the world this year and today. So I just want to tell you a little bit about myself. My name is Brianna. I am from San Diego, California. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and I study economics here at Cal, and I'll be your moderator today. And now a little bit more about what to expect from our visit today. This visit will be 40 to 45 minutes of a presentation, and you will note that down below, the chat has been disabled. However, you can send us any and all questions that you have utilizing that Q&A function. In addition to all of the student ambassadors you see on screen, we have several ambassadors on the back end that are really excited to answer your questions. Now, you'll also see some polls pop up throughout our presentation today. So as we're sharing so much information about ourselves in Berkeley with you all, we'd love to learn a little bit about you as well. So feel free to answer those short polls throughout the presentation. This specific tour is an engineering overview. It's a little different than our typical virtual visit, and we will be sharing the student perspective. And since we all are current Berkeley students, we don't know all the specific admissions information or financial aid information, so that won't be covered today. And then we'll be ending our presentation roughly the last 10-15 minutes, answering some of your questions live. And we're really excited to be chatting with you all today. And now I'm going to give it over to our two amazing campus ambassadors that will be leading the presentation today.
Thank you, Brianna. Hello, everyone. My name is Stacey. I use the she, her, hers pronouns. I'm from Palos Verdes, California, which is in Los Angeles. I'm currently a junior studying molecular environmental biology, which is in the College of Natural Resources. Although I'm personally not in the College of Engineering, I am trained for this tour, and I'm really excited to share all the experiences I know from the people around me and my friends. And for example, my roommate, my freshman year, was in the College of Engineering. Outside of the classroom, I'm involved in a lot of dance organizations. I'm also involved in Greek life, MCBC DNA, which is a biology organization that helps other biology students around campus, as well as ASUC, also known as Associated Students of University of California, which is the student government at UC Berkeley. Now I'll hand it over to Kaelyn.
Thank you so much, Stacey. Hi, everyone. My name is Kaelyn. I use she, her, and hers pronouns. I am from the small town of Ojai, California, kind of close to Santa Barbara, but I'm actually coming to you live from San Diego, which is where I've spent most of my quarantine. I am a junior studying geography as well as society and environment. And despite being a geography major, I actually have a terrible sense of direction, so hopefully I won't get too lost on this virtual tour. A little bit about me in terms of my involvement outside of being a campus ambassador. I was the programming director for the Queer Alliance Resource Center last year. It was an absolute blast, had a wonderful time. I've jumped around and done a bunch of different things in student government and community service, and I'm currently the chief of marketing for a company called Fratty Bear or Custom Life, and I'm the Cal Parents and Families intern. So if you ever check out that Facebook page, chances are you've seen something I've written. So now let's get going. First, there's a poll that just launched up. Please check it out and answer it. I'd love to see where you all are, who you are. I see we've got a high school junior, fantastic. Let me just welcome you to Berkeley, Cal, UC Berkeley, University of California. We're known by many names, but we are all Berkeley students. Here we have some amazing footage capturing some of the spirit of the university. We have the Campanile in 3 different images, and my own Zoom virtual background. So it's a real pinnacle of the university. It's our clock and bell tower. You can see it pretty much anywhere that you are on campus. I've actually seen it flying into Oakland, which is really awesome. We have a lot that we're gonna cover today, and I'm so excited to get to talk to you all today. So here is an agenda, or as I like to call it, a map of words. This will help keep you from getting lost and help keep me from getting lost. So this is just a brief overview of all the topics we're going to cover today, a brief overview of Berkeley, some academics in general, engineering information, that's going to be the bulk of our tour, student life and resources, labs, makerspaces, research, and legacy. We're so excited to talk to you about everything today. And we're all going to bring a very cool engineering overview. So please ask your questions in the Q&A, and we'll get to answering them.
Thank you, Kaelyn. That was a very warm welcome. So now I'm going to actually be going into more of the history and the establishment of the university. And so we were first founded in 1868 when Abraham Lincoln signed the Morrill Land Grant Act, which basically gave us land in Berkeley, California. And so we do have multiple names. You can call us Berkeley, Cal. We are also a University of California, and we were actually the first of the 9 undergraduate UC schools to be established, and that's actually why we get the nickname of Cal. So a little fun fact there. Our mascot is the Golden Bears, which is named after the symbol of California. In terms of campus size, we have an undergraduate population of 31,348, and around 4,000 actually of those students are engineers. And we also have 11,000 to 12,000 graduate students with around 2,000 engineers in terms of that population. And I like to mention that our mascot's name is actually Oski the bear, and Oski is just this awesome, awesome mascot who just is like everywhere. Whether it's like a spirit rally, whether it's just you're on campus, Oski's everywhere. So look out for Oski.
Could not agree more about Oski. I like to kind of play Where's Waldo with Oski because you can see him pretty much anywhere you are on campus if you look hard enough. So it's really fun. So we have 5 undergraduate colleges. Obviously today we're going to be talking mostly about the College of Engineering. We also have the College of Chemistry, which is where chemical engineering is housed. The College of Letters and Science, the Roster College of Natural Resources, and the College of Environmental Design are our other undergraduate colleges. Please, we do encourage when you are applying, if you're interested in engineering, make sure you apply directly to that program rather than applying to another school and trying to transfer your way in. It is very difficult to transfer into the College of Engineering and the engineering majors. So it really is just in your best interest to make sure that you apply directly to those. In addition, when you're applying to one of the College of Engineering or the College of Chemistry, you can get a little bit more technical in your application as people who are trained in these fields are going to be reading them. So really it's just in your best interest to apply directly.
Very true, Kaelyn. So now we'll be going on to a little bit more about the College of Engineering specifically, and basically just an overview of the school's mission, etc. And so I like to read the mission out loud because I think it's really just encapsulates the College of Engineering, the students, the faculty, the staff. Basically, transform the lives of our students by preparing them to become successful leaders and innovators for positive change. I really love saying this because I feel like I like to emphasize the word innovators. There is so many opportunities to be involved in such cutting edge programs and research throughout campus. And students get to have that hands-on experience at being a part of that and contributing to that research. And their courses are amazing supplements to help them for when they go out into the real world to then change the world. I promise you, all students at Berkeley, especially in the College of Engineering, are like ready to go out there and help society and change the world. Another thing is to expand knowledge and create transformative technology through original research to tackle the world's biggest challenges. In light of COVID-19, there has been many research going on to help with the issues that have arisen due to the virus. For example, Professor Jennifer Doudna has led a team of researchers to basically create a saliva testing that is different from the conventional testing used to track COVID-19. And there's also been research that have innovated ways to have a test at home type of technology for people who need to get tested regularly. So, those are just 2 examples of what is happening that's like amazing right now at a university. In terms of culture, we as a university really pride ourselves in being change makers, challenging the status quo, really delving into entrepreneurship, research, and innovation, as I said. And this really stems back to the free speech movements that were on our campus in 1964 that was led by Mario Savio, where students came together to advocate for their free speech. And this legacy has continued on to the present as all students are really present in, saying their values, speaking their beliefs, and supporting other students in allowing them to be heard. And in terms of community, we're really passionate, and we really pride ourselves in our social justice, spirit and pride, diversity, and excellence. It's just always there. You can see that through our pep rallies. You can see that, between students and classes, on the microscopic level, on the macroscopic level, you will really see that spirit and pride.
Wow, that was awesome, Stacey. Thank you so much for that. So another poll just launched up asking what you're interested in. This will help give us a better idea. So please answer. In the meantime, I just want to go over very quickly some of what we're going to be going over today, our academic overview. So we have 11 majors in the College of Engineering. All are ranked top 9 globally and are really just fantastic programs. As you can see with the pie chart, the majority of these students do land in our electrical engineering, computer science, or EECS program. Mechanical engineering is right behind that, and then bioengineering. It's really important to know this because obviously programs with more students tend to have larger classes, which we'll talk a little bit about later. Switching majors is doable. However, if you really don't know what program of engineering you want to go into, I encourage you to apply undeclared. That is, however, our most competitive program because you can switch into just about any engineering that you want to. I see we have a chemical engineering and an EECS person here. Very, very exciting. We also really want to emphasize our postgraduate paths, what you can do with these degrees, because you don't just come here as a student, you go on and do amazing things afterwards. A lot of students go into industry. I know a lot of people make their own startups. We're in the Silicon Valley, and as a geography major, I find that to be very, very interesting. There's so much around in the Bay Area that really helps people who want to create all these entrepreneurship, all these really, really wonderful things. And Berkeley and the Bay Area is the perfect place for that. A lot of students also go to graduate school, master's, PhD, or doctorate in engineering. So many wonderful things you can be a part of. And then finally, research. Research is so cool. You get to advance society in a way that you really don't get to otherwise, just by making sure that you're in the lab, testing all these cool different things. It seems really, really exciting, and I'm very, very excited to talk to you more about that today.
Thank you, Kaelyn. So Kaelyn was basically talking about, the 11 majors in the College of Engineering. And so now we're actually going to go through each of those majors and basically give you an overview of what is entailed in the program. And so first there is engineering and going through the undeclared route. And so if you know you want to study something in the College of Engineering, but you want to explore your options, this is the route for you. Basically, you are undeclared and you take an introductory seminar where professors come and basically talk about their specific major. And then by the 4th semester, you do have to declare. That being said, you can declare earlier if you wanted to, after your 1st semester, you're like, I really love nuclear engineering. You can declare nuclear engineering. The undeclared route is a little more competitive than the other majors. So if you do know, like, I want to study bioengineering, we do recommend that you just major in bioengineering. Next, we have nuclear engineering. So nuclear engineering is very based in terms of research and development, in terms of energy and radiation. That being said, nuclear engineering is a discipline that is seen everywhere, not just in energy and in energy. It's also seen in terms of medical devices. And I have a friend who personally studied nuclear engineering and went on to get her master's, and she's really loving the company she's working with that works with sustainability and basically researching nuclear energy for the future. And I think that's incredible. Next is bioengineering, which is also, once again, honestly, all these programs are really based in research. I feel like Kaelyn and I just always say research because we really love that the College of Engineering prides themselves in this research. And so in terms of bioengineering, you can go through biomedicals, information technology, and genetics. And so you can, look at the more technology side of bioengineering, but you can also look like the human scale and, the bioengineering that is seen in genetics. So there is actually different concentrations within the bioengineering. And so it is a discipline that covers a lot of different fields.
Yeah, I feel like we're going to say the word engineering 5,000 times throughout this presentation. UC Berkeley is the #1 public research university, so it makes sense that we really do pride in our research. Now, on to a major that has research literally in the major title, industrial engineering and operations research. This is where you'll do complex systems operation, efficiency, effectiveness. You're really optimizing systems. For instance, I think one problem that I've heard industrial engineering students to have is making the lines at Disneyland go faster, or crowd control at Disneyland. Like, I mean, that's kind of the thing that stuck out most in my mind, especially because I was just driving by Disneyland a couple days ago. Really, really fun. I think this is a really, really cool major. I really encourage that you check it out. It's one of the majors in engineering I didn't really even know existed until I came to Cal. Next, we have materials science and engineering. This is also a little bit about optimization. You create desirable material properties for a range of different functions, such as environmental impact, feasibility, cost, all these really great ways to make sure that the materials you're using themselves really make an impact in whatever you're doing.
And now on to civil and environmental engineering, which is focused in data, natural environments, and structures. And so you see a lot of civil and environmental engineering in buildings, in cities, basically making sure that the building of it is sustainable in terms of the infrastructure. And like, for example, I really like to talk about the bridges, like Bay Bridge and Golden Gate Bridge, if you're around the San Francisco area, or if you do attend Berkeley, you'll see them all the time. And what's really cool is one of our buildings actually has, it's called Davis Hall. It actually has the makerspace where basically the bridge was tested for seismic activity. And it's an amazing makerspace. I sometimes like to walk through there, even though I'm not a student in civil and environmental engineering, but I like to check that out. And it's really cool too, because besides like infrastructure, there's also the environment and landscaping, which as a molecular environmental biologist, I really appreciate. Next is mechanical engineering, which is multidisciplinary projects, and this can go into like machines, robotics, mechatronics. It's very machine learning and machine design, and there is a lot of clubs on campus and organizations that really do adjacently work with the Mech-E major, and a lot of students are involved in them, like building race cars and doing really cool things in terms of competing with other schools around the area.
So now we're moving on to one of our engineering majors that I find also absolutely fascinating. They're all fascinating, but this is the one that I think I would have done had I been an engineering major. This is engineering science. It does focus more on the research as opposed to the technical development side of engineering. You do a lot of energy engineering, mathematics, and statistics. One of my best friends is actually an engineering science major, and he absolutely loves it. The reason why he chose to do this one as opposed to a different engineering major is because he really loved physics and he wanted to dive more into it. Environmental engineering science is also a really cool path. I'm an environmental major, so I interact with these people all the time, and they just have such a fascinating perspective on things.
And finally, we have electrical engineering and computer science, also known as EECS. I'm going to say EECS because it is easier to say and it is shorter. So EECS is based in technological problem solving. So this is in terms of hardware and software. EECS students do a lot of programming as well as looking at hard drives and looking at circuits. There's a lot of collaboration in the industry. Like students collaborate with each other in classes all the time. And when students go on to work in the EECS field, there is a lot of collaborating amongst coworkers. And once again, computer-aided design, and there is microwave, quantum, and optical electronic circuits. I'm personally not an EECS student, so I'm not sure much about those subjects. However, if you're interested, that is integrated in the curriculum. And now I'm actually going to touch on a subject that might be a little confusing at first. So EECS is actually separate from the computer science major. The first big distinction is that they are in different colleges. EECS is in the College of Engineering, while computer science is in the College of Letters and Science. So when you actually do come into the school, if you did apply for EECS in the College of Engineering, you are declared. While if you wanted to pursue computer science, you actually are like in the College of Letters and Sciences as undeclared, and you do have to take prerequisite courses to then be declared. There is a hardware and software integration, as I talked about in the previous slide with EECS. In computer science, it's more software focused. However, you do take a lot of electrical engineering courses that are similar to EECS, just not all of them. In terms of the breadth courses, which are courses that you take that are outside of your major, like arts and humanities and philosophy and values, those you actually take 7 of those breadth courses in computer science, while you only take 4 breadth courses. And that's actually a difference, not necessarily in majors, but in the colleges themselves. So if you wanted to see, other colleges' requirements for breadth courses, you can look that up online. And in EECS, there is ethics and specific math/physics requirements that are not necessarily in computer science. And computer science is actually an impacted major. You need to have a 3.3 in core classes such as CS 61A, B, and 70 in order to declare, while EECS, you are already, once again, in the major when you get into the college.
So now we have another poll popping up asking where you're joining us from. I'm in Southern California, so let's see if there's any other Southern California people here. I see we have an international student, a Northern California person. So far, one Southern California person, welcome. Anyway, other opportunities to get involved in the College of Engineering if you don't want to do any of these majors. There are joint majors which really delve into the intersection between 2 of the majors. It's not necessarily a double major, it's more about looking at where do they overlap and where their intersection comes together and where that is in particular, because there's so much to talk about with engineering. There's also minors. People outside of the College of Engineering can, in fact, do a minor. That's what a lot of people do. I know if they want to be a part of the College of Engineering, but don't necessarily want to commit to an entire major. And then it's here a little bit below in terms of commitment or certificates. I know a lot of people who do these certificates. There's the Design and Innovation certificate, and then the Entrepreneurship and Technology certificate. My resident assistant my freshman year actually did the Entrepreneurship and Technology certificate despite being a biology major because she really wanted to go into biotech. Finally, the Management, Entrepreneurship, and Technology program, or the MET program. This is a dual program with our Haas School of Business, where you get a business degree and an engineering degree. You can choose any of the engineering programs that you want to be a part of this, and then also have your business degree. And one of the really cool things about it is that when you apply for it, you are still considered for whatever engineering program that you apply for. Even if you don't get into the MET program, you still might get into an engineering program.
Sometimes if I had a second life, I would apply to the MET program because that's so cool, getting a dual degree in both in business and engineering, best of both worlds. All right, so now moving on to the College of Chemistry. The reason why we're actually talking about the College of Chemistry, even though this is an engineering tour, is because chemical engineering is actually in this college rather than the College of Engineering. And this is because the College of Chemistry is actually really small. And so chemical engineers can have a more focused advising, and because the majority of their classes are in chemistry, it is in their favor to be linked under this college. So there's only 1,000 students, and like the College of Engineering, you do apply directly. And I like to say this, it is ranked #1 globally. Go Bears. So in the college, there are 3 majors. There is chemistry, chemical biology, and chemical engineering, as I said. And a little flex, but 16 elements were discovered, including berkelium, Berkeley, berkelium, californium, and seaportium. So if you wanted to know that. And even though you are not a chemical engineering major, a lot of engineering students actually do take a lot of classes in chemistry, like material science. And that is because it's a very fundamental skill. And even me, who's not in either of those colleges, I've taken so many chemistry courses. I think the majority of the courses I've taken have been chemistry courses. And it's awesome because they give you that really hands-on application-based learning where like I've been in a lab with only 16 students and I've learned fundamental lab procedures despite the size of the school and despite how many students do take chemistry courses.
Yeah, the College of Chemistry is so cool. I feel like everyone I interact with within the College of Chemistry is so knowledgeable, so smart, and they really do expand the chemistry program beyond just the College of Chemistry. So you really are able to take classes despite being any major you want. So now we get to move into a little bit more general structure and class sizes. So how do classes work at Cal? Let me tell you. We have it in 3 separate components: lecture, section, and lab. Lecture is your big, like, think auditorium, PowerPoint. This is where the professor comes up and basically talks at you for an hour or so. Section is a little bit more specific. You meet with a graduate student instructor, or a GSI for short. It's a graduate student within the field that you're studying, and they'll get to talk to you in a much more one-on-one sort of setting with about maybe 20 other students, help you review a lot of the material, give you that extra help that you might need. And then we have lab, which I think is the coolest part of any of classes. Lab is where you get to do all the hands-on stuff, get to build stuff. I remember one of my friends who is an EECS major came back one day and was like, oh my God, I just built a touchscreen from scratch. I was like, that is so cool. That's awesome. And finally, if you are interested in getting a little extra help, a little bit more supplemental material that you maybe didn't cover in section or lab, office hours are a great way to do so. Office hours, you can go either to your professor's office hours or your graduate student instructor's office hours. This essentially allows you to ask any questions that you want and really get that individualized attention that you might decide you need. I feel like I go to office hours more than I go to lecture, just because it's so helpful, and I really feel like I'm getting a much greater understanding than I did in lecture. So I highly recommend you check it out. I feel like most people want everything that they say when they say, what did I regret after my first year, is I didn't go to office hours enough. So please go to office hours. Like, that is the best use of your time, I promise you. Finally, class size. This is dependent on major. As I mentioned previously when we were looking at that cool pie chart earlier, obviously the larger your major, the larger your classes are gonna be. That's just how it works. So if you are interested in really getting a smaller class size, maybe choose a more specific niche major. However, once you do go further into your major, classes are going to get a little bit smaller because you're going to be doing less of the general classes that other majors do take. iClicker and class interaction, those are huge for lectures. And iClicker is essentially like a little multiple choice, like remote thing that you sign on to. They ask questions during it. It's kind of like our polls here today. And that allows you to have some in-class interaction. Also, I feel like a lot of professors, at least in my classes, will ask a question that's discussion-based to the entire classroom, and then you spend maybe 5 or so minutes talking to the person sitting next to you. Now I want to talk a little bit about resources. We have our Student Learning Center, which is absolutely fantastic. They provide free tutoring for any class that you might need. You just walk in there, you get your help, and you find other people that also need help. So it's a really, really great collaborative learning environment. And it's also a really cool job if you are on campus and you do a really great job in one class and you want to tutor it, you can work at the Student Learning Center. Engineering Student Services has their own more specific type of services to help you out. And then for your academic advisors, this is something that's super cool about the College of Engineering, is that you have an advisor that takes you throughout your entire time at Cal. So they really make sure that whatever you're doing, you have an advisor helping you out every step along the way, because things can get confusing, but we have help to help you out with that.
Yeah, Kaelyn mentioned too that like with the SLC or Student Learning Center, like you don't necessarily have to be a student who struggles with material. Like you can also choose to teach it. And I know I didn't teach necessarily for the SLC, but I remember I was given an opportunity to be a TA in a chemistry lab, and it's just so fun seeing, like, I personally worked with a group of freshmen, so it was just really fun interacting with freshmen when I was like, oh, I'm a junior, like this is funny, or I was a sophomore at the time actually. And it also helps you with practice, and like, you know, I feel like you master knowledge when you're able to teach it, and by practicing it you'll be able to master it really quickly. So lots of opportunities there. Next, we'll go on to student diversity. And so these are some groups in the College of Engineering that are both student-led, but also university-led, if you wanted to be meet people who you identify with. So for example, Women in Science and Engineering theme program. This one's a cool one because this one you actually live with the women in this program. And it's actually like in a housing residential hall, like in residential hall reserved place. There's the Black Engineering and Science Student Association. There's Hispanic Engineers and Scientists, EOP STEM, pre-engineering program. So there's a bunch of different programs, and this is just a few. To our website, you can see a full list of all of the resources there for you if you wanted that in your college career.
And please ask the Q&A if you have any questions more specific about any of the things that we're talking about today. And now I get to talk about my favorite part of the entire tour, which is student life, clubs and competitions. We have so many different things for you to get involved in. I guarantee you, no matter what you're interested in, you'll be able to find something, some club that does exactly that. And if you don't find something, you can create it. One thing that Cal really prides itself in is that we allow students to create whatever clubs they want. There are over 1,000 registered student organizations, so you're sure to find something that really fits what you care about. These are some of the more popular clubs for engineering students in particular. Cal Sol, they build solar panels. It's really, really cool. Environmental major, love it. Cal Steel Bridge Team. These people are like crazy. Like I feel like I see them have their steel bridge like when they're tabling, when they're advertising the club. I'm like, wow, what is that? What are triangles? I don't understand. It's really, really cool. Moving on, I really think the Society of Women Engineers is really cool. One of my best friends is in it. She's an officer, and I know she absolutely loves it. It's such a great community. They have Patagonia jackets with their club and their name on it, which is really cool. Cal Hacks is something that I know a lot of people participated in despite not being an engineering student, often not even being a computer science student. There are hackathons that really just allow students to like code all day long, and it's really, really fascinating. There's Pioneers in Engineering, and then there's Department Honor Society. So if you really want to get involved in your department and have a stellar GPA, which props to you if you do, like engineering's hard, good for you getting that, join the Department Honor Society. I will say also, if you aren't in the College of Engineering, but you decide that these things are interesting to you, they take people from all sorts of majors. And then vice versa is true. If you are interested in something beyond just the College of Engineering clubs, please check it out. Like Cal is a very, very open campus. Everyone's willing to take people from different backgrounds and different interests. Just show that you care, and I promise you'll have a wonderful time.
Just to echo what Kaelyn said, like Cal Hacks, every single person around me is like, yeah, I'm going to Cal Hacks. Like, aren't you? And I'm like, I don't know how to code. And they're like, me neither. And I'm like, wow, like you don't even need to know how to code, but you can still learn and, work with the people around you. And they're always supportive and like ready to help you out. So once again, a cool opportunity to learn there. And so now we're going to go on to some labs and makerspaces. Personally, one of my favorite slides. We have multiple labs throughout campus, like right directly on campus, where not only professors, but students are learning and as well as contributing to research. And so first we have Sudarsha Hall, which has CITRIS, which stands for Center for Information Technology Research in the Interest of Society. I have memorized that. And CITRIS is an awesome place where basically research is being conducted that is making technology that's supposed to help society. And so there's actually a pop-up museum that's like in Sudarsha Hall where you can see some of the products that were made in this space. So for example, there is a prosthetic arm that is that actually senses and moves based on a person's choice of movement. There is like cat ear headphones that were apparently prototyped in this makerspace that like you listen to music, but you can also project music through your cat ears. Pretty cool stuff. Next is Jacobs Hall, which is the Jacobs Institute for Design Innovation. So this is a place where students can basically help each other in terms of designing machines, designing prototypes, etc. There's also Hesse Hall, which is the mechanical engineering machine shop. Davis Hall, which is the civil engineering construction bay, which I mentioned before, where students test out bridges and test out their bridges. There's also the Richmond Field Station, which is actually on your top right, that picture. And it's basically a large open space. And there is a club called FSAE. I forgot what it stands for, I'm so sorry. But it's a club where they use recycled material to build race cars, and they're able to test it here at Richmond Field Station. I know personally, I really appreciate this station because there's a lot of environmental science type research going on in terms of like testing water quality. So, very versatile space.
Yeah, those spaces are all super, super cool. I really wish I had more time to explore them. I feel like I go into that construction bay all the time just as a way to be like, wow, look at what engineering is about. Now, our favorite word, research. We get to talk more about it. Yes. So, first and foremost, many, many students get involved in research. You don't have to be a graduate student to do that. You don't have to be any particular major to get involved in research. It's whatever you feel like you want to do. First, the Undergraduate Research Apprenticeship Program, or URAP for short. This is where most people at Cal get involved with engineering, with research. You apply, you go through a round of interviews, and then you get your research. However, if you want to get involved in something else, or if you want to make sure that you get involved with research, on the off chance that you don't get into a URAP project, we have some other programs as well. We have Beehive, which is more specific to engineering students. Lawrence Berkeley National Laboratory, it's on the top of the hill in Berkeley. It is a wonderful place. Just absolutely incredible research getting pumped out there, and is very close to campus. There's also a shuttle that'll take you up there. So even though it's not technically on campus, you have very easy access to it. Next, we have the Studart Center for Entrepreneurship and Technology. They have a lot of different ways to get involved with research. And I also really want to mention that even if you don't get involved in any of these ways, there's still other ways to get involved with engineering research. What most of my friends tend to do is they email a professor, just cold email, be like, hey, I'm really interested in the work that you're doing. Can I be a part of this? And it might take a few emails to get an in with someone, but it really does work. And it's a really cool way to get involved. I really do encourage that you at least try research out while you're here, just because it's such an important part of making the world a better place. It's also a part of graduate school. So it's really cool to get that exposure to it early on and decide if it is for you.
And what's really amazing about research is, like, in my mind, when I came into college, I was thinking like research is like micropipetting all the time, or like it's like very based in microscopic research. However, that's really not the case. Since I've come to college, I've learned so much about the research that is in public health, that's in history, that's in English, linguistics. There's so much research out there that's not necessarily specific to more the microscopic level. And I personally didn't find that much attraction in that research. So I'm really excited to like hop on to research in public health.
And congratulations to our newest Nobel Prize winners. Again, people who are phenomenal with their research, who have done such incredible, groundbreaking things. Stacey talked a little bit earlier about Jennifer Doudna. She won the 2020 Nobel Prize in Chemistry for her work with CRISPR, which is that gene editing thing that I feel like you always hear about. She is so cool. She teaches a class at Cal still, so she's not just this distant researcher, she's an active member of our community. And then we have Reinhard Genzel, who won the 2020 Nobel Prize for Physics. We are so proud of our legacy to have these amazing Nobel Prize winners to be our faculty, to influence the campus community and the world around us. So congratulations to the two of them.
All right, now on to some of our notable figures and alumni. So first is Rube Goldberg. If you've heard of Rube Goldberg machines, he basically made really complex machines that, like have a lot of pathways to do very simple things. Like I remember there was one where when the a bell would ring, it would cause all of these certain processes to happen to then put food in a bowl for a dog. So that's an example. And he was not only an engineer, but also a cartoonist. That's usually actually seen a lot at Berkeley, where Berkeley students, like I know I have a lot of friends who are EECs who are also amazing dancers. They can dance so well. And it really shows how their passions really stretch out to both like, computer science and programming to, art. And we have also Dean Liu, who is a very inspiring woman. She's an instructor, researcher, and administrator. She was the first female dean of the College of Engineering. We have Shafi Goldwasser, who won the Turing Prize, which is an amazing prize in computer science. There is Steve Wozniak, who is the co-founder of Apple. And finally, I want to also mention we are celebrating our 150 years of women in engineering, and we've been doing a lot of now virtual celebration. So if you wanted to check that out, we actually have a website for that, which will be mentioned at the end of our presentation. But it's been really awesome and amazing to applaud the women who have really shaped our university, especially, in the College of Engineering. And now we'll be moving on to our live question and answer session.
Yes, we will be. Thank you so much, Stacey and Kaelyn, for giving such an awesome engineering virtual visit presentation today. We're just going to be jumping into some of these great questions our attendees have been sending through. If you do have any other questions you'd like to have us answer live, please send those through using the Q&A function down below. But let's get started. So the first question I have for you, Stacey, one of our attendees wants to know, what was your freshman experience like in the College of Engineering? Or how did you make friends within your classes? You know, if you're not in the College of Engineering, you know, just how do you make friends coming to Berkeley?
That's a great question. And honestly, that was my biggest apprehension coming into the university, because I did graduate from a high school that was very, very small. And so I was worried, how am I going to make friends when some of these classes are hundreds and hundreds of people big? And first off, although I am not in the College of Engineering, I can talk a little bit about my freshman experience, but I've also have a lot of friends who are in the College of Engineering my freshman year. And I would say we all had very similar experiences where we were just kind of thrown in there with amazing opportunities right off the bat. Classes were just it was so different from high school because you were taking classes that were very specific towards your interest. And so I absolutely loved it. In terms of academics, my freshman year, it was challenging, but it was so rewarding because you were learning such interesting things. And you were, feeling like you were getting closer and closer to your goal and like where you wanted to be as an adult, which is like something I never really felt in high school. And I would say a lot of College of Engineering students were also feeling that way, where they were learning, really challenging things, but they also had each other and they had the faculty who were super ready to, help them to be there. And in terms of making friends, so there is so many ways, just like, okay, one way is literally just talking to the person next to you, which can seem daunting, but I promise you the person next to you is like, also like, I really want to talk to this person right now to make friends. So like, if you're the first person to do that, I bet the person next to you will be like, oh my God, thank goodness. So that's one way. Another way is that they actually have events that are like planned by the faculty where students can meet other students, like talking about a College of Engineering specific example, but there are these things in like EECS called homework parties, where students come and basically collaborate with each other to finish their homework. And you not only finish your homework, you learn from the people around you who are really passionate and really intelligent, and you also meet new people. So you're like, giving yourself more free time at the same time as meeting others. And so there's that option. There's also student organizations, which many freshmen, first of all, like upperclassmen really want freshmen to join. So there's so many opportunities there. That's like only the base of it. There's so many other ways, and the university really tries to foster that community as much as possible, even virtually.
Thanks so much, Stacey. I really loved hearing about kind of the different ways that you can make friends coming in. I know everyone told me I'd make friends in the dining hall, and yet I met my best friend in the laundry room because everyone also has to do their laundry at some point. So you never know where you might meet your best friend. Going to our next question. This is for you, Kaelyn. One of our attendees wants to know, what are some popular extracurriculars, within engineering, or how can they get a good balance between academic and social life at Berkeley?
Thank you so much for that question. I love talking about extracurriculars. That's my favorite slide on the entire presentation. I don't know if there's really one popular extracurricular for engineering students in general or any student at all. There's so many opportunities to get involved. I know the Society of Women Engineers is a really popular thing to get involved in. However, it's just a really great way to meet community, especially if you are women entering engineering. I know that can seem a little daunting, but there is a really wonderful community. However, I just encourage you, don't focus on what is popular versus what's not popular. Focus on what interests you. Search through all of the extracurriculars we have and find a club that really speaks to you, that speaks to things that you're interested in. And if there's something that's really niche that you're not finding, create a club for it. I guarantee you will find other students interested. In terms of having a good balance of everything, I live on Google Calendar. I think that's the best way to make sure that you have a good balance, is just to really know how much time you have in your day and plan things out and stick to the times that you have set for yourself. Also, there is a level of prioritizing. Obviously, there's a limited amount of hours in the day. You've really got to make sure that you're filling it up with things that you actually care about. So for instance, if having a really vibrant social life is something that's important to you, maybe don't pick up 3 minors or something like that. Like, make sure that you're doing things that are realistic for you, know yourself, and acknowledge that there's a lot of resources around you to help out if you do want to do everything. Advisors are really wonderful, but you have to reach out and get that help that you need.
Yes, that's so true. Thanks so much, Kaelyn. And going to our next question. This is for you, Stacey. One of our attendees wants to know, if you figure out that you like a different type of engineering while at Berkeley, can you switch into a different major within the college?
That's a great question. A little bit complicated because it is very case by case, and it depends on just what classes you've taken, what your interests are. And so it does require a lot of planning with your advisor. However, in a lot of cases, it is possible. Generally, if you have similar prerequisites between majors, you will be able to switch and graduate in 4 years. That being said, I know people who take an extra semester because of that switch, which is also an option. There are a couple of exceptions. For example, transferring into EECS is impossible. But that being said, if you wanted to minor in EECS, totally doable. I know some people who are biology majors like me who minor in EECS. If you really wanted to go down the programming route, you can be in the computer science major and apply for that major. And once again, there is a lot of overlap between the two majors, so it isn't terrible of an option. And there's a lot of like little things like that where you can maybe still study what you love, but not necessarily be under that specific label, which is what a lot of students do. So in short, yes, but also always keep in communication with your advisor to ensure that you can do it eventually.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks so much, Stacey. And go into our next question. This is for you, Kaelyn. Kaelyn, one of our attendees wants to know, since Berkeley's in an urban area, how safe is it around campus?
Yeah, so first I want to preface it with, I came from a very small town, a very small, safe town. Like, there was a store where if you wanted to get something, you could just leave money at the door for it. You wouldn't even have to like go in and pay people directly. Like, that's how much trust there was in my community. So coming to an urban area was a little daunting for me, for sure. Like, I was worried about safety. I was worried about, oh my God, I'm just going to get lost here. And then once I came on the campus, I realized, oh, I'm not worried for anything real at all. Like, there's nothing really to be concerned about. And if I was concerned about anything, there's so many resources to make sure that I'm safe. I don't think Berkeley is very unsafe at all. I think that the university does a wonderful job of making sure that if for whatever reason there is something that comes up, you have resources available. We talk a little bit more about that in our general tour, so please check that out if you are interested in learning a little bit more. I will also say one of the biggest things that I noticed is that there's really an air around the students where we do recognize that we want to keep our friends safe. I had an experience where I was walking home late at night with one of my friends, and I was wearing heels, so I was like really, really uncomfortable. And my friend noticed that, and he was like, take off your shoes, you're putting on mine, I'm walking you to your door. Like, there's no reason for you to like break your ankle here. Just like, let me help you out. And that was awesome. Like, just the amount of care that I saw from my fellow students for something as small as just me being uncomfortable in the pair of heels that I was wearing, and making sure that that wasn't a factor in getting me home safely. So even though we are in an urban area and there's bound to be some dangers, we have so much support, and the students really do care.
Yeah, thanks so much, Kaelyn. I really appreciate that, because that's kind of what I've experienced too, is, students, we kind of look out for each other. And we do have, those night safety programs that are actually, some of them are student run, where you call our bear walk, and a student that's trained will come pick you up and walk you from the library to your house, or from your house to campus. And that's a really good service to utilize. And we have shuttles too. If you don't want to walk, you can use the night safety shuttles. They've always been one of my favorites. Jump into our next question, and I love this question, so thank you to our attendee that submitted it. Stacey, they want to know, what's been your favorite class at Berkeley?
I love this question. So I have a couple of answers. So I'm going to start with my first one, which is a class I actually took last semester. Despite it being virtual, it was my favorite class. It is called The Environment and Health. And basically, That's very vague, I know, but it's basically a class that really shows the biosocial nature of medicine. And so, okay, so basically, it went over how your social status, who you are, your identity can play a role in terms of your health. And so we read a lot of different anthropology based journal articles. So I used to never love to really read journal articles, but this class taught me how to do that. And now I appreciate research so much more. I had the opportunity to individually meet my professor every single week, and we had the most in-depth conversations, not only about her research and the class material, but about me as well, what I wanted to do in the future. And she really guided me through that. And it's really cool that I can, talk to her and have her as a mentor, despite this class being hundreds of students. It's really like the opportunity is there for you. And not only did I learn so much, but I've had a very engaging time with my peers. Everyone was so passionate because it was an upper division class where I was meeting a lot of people who had very similar interests to me. And I'm just so excited to use the knowledge I learned in the future. So there's that course. Organic chemistry is notoriously known to be super difficult, but I loved my organic chemistry experience because I had a professor who was very, very excited to teach and was always there for their students. And so not only did I find myself really succeeding in the course, but I started to really, really love chemistry, which I actually never took in high school. So at first I was struggling a lot, but this professor was really there to help me. And finally, there is a course that is a decal course, which is a course that is taught by students that you actually can get credit for. And it was a course where I learned the skills to teach the elderly as well as kids dance. And so it was really cool to use my past knowledge of dance to then basically teach people around the Bay Area. And it was completely student led. And there was like a full curriculum where we watched like guest lecturers who were really amazing at dance. And it's really cool that I could bring in my academics with my hobbies into one class. So long answer. I can't choose.
That's awesome, Stacey. Thanks so much for sharing all that. That dance class sounds like so much fun. How about you, Kaelyn? What's been your favorite class at Berkeley?
There are so many. Like I could go on forever, like along with Stacey. Like Berkeley classes are so cool, but if I had to pick one, I think I would choose this geography class I took last semester. Again, virtual, so it was crazy that I was able to be this awesome, but it integrated geography and technology. There were a lot of engineering students in it, and we really just learned about how technology influences geographical systems. It was so cool. Like the professor, you could tell that was her passion project. And I actually talked to other people in the geography department, and they're like, oh yeah, Desiree Fields, like that's her favorite thing. I imagine that's such a cool class. And she was awesome. Like I'm actually taking another class from the same professor next semester because I was like, wow, she is so cool. She taught such a wonderful class. I really wanted to make sure that I got that experience again. And also she really made sure to talk to her students on a regular basis. Like she had to sign up for one-on-one office hours right at the start of the semester because she was like, I want to get to know you all. I want to make sure that by the end of the semester, like I can write you a rec letter. And it was just awesome to have a professor that genuinely cared. I told her at one point that, I hate my semester project. I know I've been working on it all semester. I don't like where this is going. Can I fix it? And can I have some extra time? And she was so accommodating. She gave me all the resources I needed because she's like, I get that you really want to make sure that you're putting out something that you care about and something that you're proud of. So that was a wonderful experience. It was the professor and the subject matter both. And I think that I can speak for everyone when I say that professors make a huge difference, and the way that they teach makes a huge difference.
Yeah, that's so true. And I kind of went around the same path as you did. Like I found a professor that I absolutely loved and would take like multiple classes under them. And that's just kind of one way you kind of develop within your major or explore other areas as well. And jumping into our next question, and this is for you, Kaelyn. One of our attendees wants to know, what is there to do off campus, like in the city of Berkeley?
So much. So much. We were actually talking right before we all jumped on this tour today about some cool things that one of our ambassadors was able to do being in Berkeley during winter break, which was go check out the botanical gardens. The UC Botanical Gardens, I think, are an underrated gem of being a UC Berkeley student. You get to go in for free with your tuition, And it's just an absolutely beautiful space. I didn't discover it until last winter break myself. I absolutely loved it. There's this incredible mix of nature and urban that I think Berkeley is incredibly unique to have. You can go into San Francisco, explore all the city life you want there, but also go hiking very, very easily. It's just a wonderful, wonderful mix. And I think it's almost an impossible mix. I didn't realize there was, the ability to have so much nature and so much city right next to each other.
Yeah, I always hear it. Berkeley's like this perfect blend. It's nature, the city, San Francisco. You kind of have the best of all worlds in one place. So definitely agree. And now, as we're talking to a lot of potentially prospective students, I know they'd probably love to hear, your Berkeley story. Like, how did you end up here at Berkeley? Stacey, do you want to share your Berkeley story first?
I would love to. So once again, I graduated from a class, I'll give you the number, of 60 students. Very, very small. And so when I was applying to college, I applied to a lot of smaller liberal arts colleges, like on the East Coast and on the West Coast. I really wanted to stay near the coast, especially California. Like staying in California was my ideal because I love the weather. I cannot handle cold weather. And I really wanted to be kind of close to my family, which is a little different, right? So basically, I applied to the UCs, but I didn't actually have the opportunity to visit any schools until I got in to the schools that I applied for. And UC Berkeley was one of them. But I was like, probably not, considering how big it is. I think I'll feel overwhelmed. And I actually visited Cal on its busiest day, which was a day called Cal Day. And when I came on to the campus, I wasn't overwhelmed. I was mesmerized. There were just hundreds of students. And I remember this college student asked me to take a picture of them, and they were wearing all this Cal gear. And I was like, I'm a college student. I feel like I'm an actual college student on this campus. And, there was hundreds of tents with amazing academic programs. There were 6 Aussies running around, Cal dance, cheer, band. It was just an amazing sight. And I realized that spirit was something I really missed in my high school experience. And so after, seeing all the colleges, I realized there was something about Cal that I just couldn't get out of my head. And so I decided to come here, and I was not disappointed in the slightest. Not only are the students just phenomenal and passionate, but you can always return to the family that you call home, whether that be a student organization, whether that be a group that you identify with, whether that be your freshman year floor. It's even though it is so big and you do meet new people every day, you can always return to that small community, including this one with all the campus ambassadors. It's just incredible that, you always end up with the people that you really can call your home.
Yeah, that's so true, Stacey. I'm really glad you talked about Cal Day because that was also something that was important to me in choosing Berkeley, and definitely love that Cal spirit. And going over to Kaelyn, what kind of made you choose Berkeley?
Yeah, so I went to a summer camp at Berkeley right after my freshman year of high school. I actually ended up living right across the courtyard from where I would end up living my freshman year. It was awesome. And I totally fell in love with the campus. It was an immediate thing for me. I knew this is where I wanted to go. I even told my college counselor in high school, hey, if I get into Berkeley, I'm not even looking at anywhere else. This is where I want to go. But then I got waitlisted, which was so much fun. And, I had to do the responsible thing. I had to choose a different school to commit myself to. And it was a totally different path than where I am right now. And I think where my story differs a little bit from a lot of other waitlisted stories is that I actually wasn't excited when I found out I got in. I was like, oh my God, now I have to think of this whole new path and figure out everything else again. And I didn't really want to do it. I was like, no, I committed to this school. I'm going there. Sorry, Berkeley, you were great for me to picture myself at all these 4 years, but not anymore. I'm done. But then at the same time, there was just something nagging in the back of my head. I couldn't tell Berkeley no quite yet. And then something crazy happened. I just honestly, on a lark, decided to research the school I'd gotten into, which was the College for Natural Resources. And I found their motto, and that absolutely shocked me. Their motto is see the bigger picture, make a better world, which was phenomenal. And I think that really echoes the desire of a lot of students out of the school. We really do care and do want to make sure that we're putting good out into the world, seeing problems and fixing them. That's true with the College of Engineering. That's true with the College of Natural Resources, the College of Chemistry, all of them. And so for me, it just became well, duh, like I have to go here. How could I not want to be a part of these students that actually care about fixing things in the world? So within 3 hours after that, I'd committed to Cal and I haven't looked back since.
That's amazing. Thank you so much, Kaelyn, for sharing that. And thank you to all of our attendees for spending this last hour with us. And I just want to share some additional resources with you all. If you enjoyed our virtual visit today, I highly, highly recommend following us on social media at Instagram at Visit UC Berkeley to learn more about our campus ambassadors. If you have any additional questions, you can email us at tour@berkeley.edu and a student ambassador will get right back to you. If you're interested in learning more about the day-to-day life of a Berkeley student, you can read about it at beartalk.berkeley.edu, our Bear Talk blog. In addition, we have a different recorded virtual visit available on our website and YouTube channel at Visit UC Berkeley. If you're interested in how Berkeley's responding to the current global pandemic, you can check out coronavirus.berkeley.edu. And as Stacey mentioned earlier, if you're interested in learning about our 150 years of Women at Berkeley celebration, you can check out 150w.berkeley.edu. To learn more about engineering, you can check out that engineering.berkeley.edu link. And lastly, I highly recommend checking out some of our other ambassador student panels and our general virtual visit, which you can register for at visit.berkeley.edu. And with that, I want to thank you all again for spending an hour with us. And here at Berkeley, we finish everything with a strong Go Bears. Can I get a Go Bears on 3? 1, 2, 3. Go Bears! Thank you all so much. Have a good rest of your day. Bye now.